Hello and welcome to our class on the women's winter season. As women, we experience winter every month. For those who are menstruating, this is our time when we're bleeding. And for those who are not menstruating because of pregnancy or birth control or any other possibility, we can experience this same feeling through the time of the new moon. It's a time when nature's a little bit darker, things are resting, it's a little bit quieter. So as women, if we support these systems, we start to feel more revitalized in ourselves. When we allow ourselves to rest, we can allow our bodies to rejuvenate, allow our minds to think more clearly. This is also the time in our life cycle that is supported by the archetype of the crone, or the wise woman. So it's a time when we can tune in to that wiser voice in ourselves if we take the time to slow down and listen. So our physical practice for our winter season will be a restorative yoga practice. I have a yoga mat with a blanket over it. You don't need to have a yoga mat, but just somewhere where you can comfortably sit and lay down. I also have 2 yoga blocks and something to cover my eyes with. And I also have a bolster and a blanket. You don't need yoga props for this. You can use a couple blankets or a couple pillows or a textbook as a block. So if you need some props, you can go ahead and press pause and just make sure that you collect a couple pillows, blankets, whatever you have. Today's restorative practice is safe for everyone in all stages of life. It's safe for pregnancy. It's safe for menopause. And with that said, it should feel like a really rejuvenating practice. Restorative yoga is really, really important. It allows us to slow down. It allows all of our bodily systems to start to work again. It moves us from that fight or flight response into our rest and digest. So it's really good for heart rate, really good for muscle recovery, really good during our cycles for cramps and lower back pain and that irritability. So with that said, if there's anything during practice that doesn't feel great for you, feel free to find something else. Always laying on your back in a comfortable position or sitting and just watching or taking a couple deep breaths is always something you can do during these practices. It's meant to feel really comfortable and really nourishing for your body, so make sure that in every shape you feel very supported, and if you need extra blankets, pillows, feel free to grab those during class. So the first thing that we will start with is learning a mudra. And a mudra is a hand symbol that it means a seal. So it brings in energy to a certain part of our body. So we'll be learning Yoni Mudra. And Yoni is the yogic term for our vagina and the area around there. So the meaning of the word Yoni is the temple and the temple gates. So it means our entire systems, and we support this by making an upside down triangle. The pointer fingers will go on the top of our pubic bone, and the thumbs will go right around our underwear line. So you can go ahead and lay down. I will continue to sit so that you can hear me a little bit better. You can lay down on your back. If you'd like, you can take a pillow or a blanket underneath the back of your head. And just take that Yoni Mudra and go ahead and put that right over your pelvis. And we'll just start to take a couple deep breaths here. The seal brings the energy down into our pelvic bowl. And some of us may already start to feel the energy moving towards there. You may start to feel the focus coming towards the area of your pelvis. This is a really great way to start any practice. And a really great practice for if you'd like to do something really nourishing for your body during your winter season, but you only have a couple minutes. You can just place the hands at Yoni Mudra and ask yourself, what do you need? or what would be most nourishing to you today. So you can try that right now as your body starts to relax. Asking, what do you need? What do you need right now? What would be most nourishing to you? What do you need? Sometimes our bodies answer us in words or colors or an image. There is no right or wrong answer, but if anything comes up, maybe something to remember. Take 3 more deep breaths here. You can slowly roll over to one side and we will set up for our first pose, which is a supported child's pose. So I'll move to the side and I'm going to take my big toes together and my knees wide apart. In between our thighs, we can place our supports of blankets, pillows, whatever you have. So I'm going to take a bolster and put it right in between my thighs. If you'd like more support here, you can put as many layers of pillows, blankets that you need. And then we'll take hands on either side of our support and just start to walk our way down. One cheek can come to the pillow. And we'll just start to breathe here. This should feel really supportive on the belly. And if you'd like, you can close the eyes. We'll be here for just a couple minutes. If you're comfortable here, feel free to stay. We'll be here for about 3 minutes. I'm just going to show you one other option for if you have any knee or ankle or hip pain. You can also take this to the side. So you can bring the knees together and just use that pillow or support right in front of you. And you can just lay down, taking hand to head or laying all the way down. So finding one of those positions that works for you. And just allow your belly to really relax onto the bolster or onto your pillows or blankets. If it ever feels like too much pressure on your belly, you can also push your support forward a little bit so that it's more underneath your chest and that you have more room for your belly in between your thighs. If your head is facing one direction, you can slowly lift and move to the other direction. Continue to take really deep breaths here, especially through the lower back. Many times during our cycle, while we're bleeding, we can get some lower back pain because of the extra weight on the front of our bodies. So this can feel like a really nourishing pose to spread the lower back. And this pose is safe to stay in for as long as it feels comfortable to you. I typically like to stay in this pose for at least 5 minutes, but it depends on your knees and ankles. It's safe to stay for really as long as is comfortable. So if you'd like to practice longer today, you can always press pause and stay here for longer. But so that we can keep moving through the video, I'll just have you take 3 more deep breaths here. And then to get out of the pose, you can simply bring the palms to the ground, start to push yourself. You can move the props away from you, and then just sit over to one side and bring the feet out. During restorative, it's really nice to take a couple deep breaths after each pose. It allows the body to integrate what happened and allows you to make better decisions for the rest of your practice. So you may learn that that felt really, really good and it's one that you'd like to come back to in the future. Or you may learn that that was one that didn't feel as good to you, and there may be some others that feel more nourishing. But when we take a couple minutes in between each pose, we can allow ourselves to feel that. So I like to place one hand on my heart, one hand on my belly, and just check in with how my body's feeling now. Seeing if we can gather any information from that crone energy, from our wise woman inside. Our next pose, we will bring our support right in front of us and bring our legs out wide. The support can come right up against our belly if that feels okay. And then we'll just start to walk our way forward onto our support. Again, you can place as many blankets, pillows that you need here. There's no right or wrong shape with this, no way that your legs need to come out. Just finding a comfortable position here. If you're feeling a really big stretch here, feel free to stay. It can feel really nice to have some support for our forehead. And anytime that we tuck our chin in, it starts to activate that rest and digest phase. So one I like for being up here is you can come onto your elbows and just create a little shelf with the heel of your hands and place your forehead on top. Or if you'd like to come lower, you can make a pillow for your forehead with the back of your palms and come down onto your support. Alternatively, if it feels good, you can bring arms to the side and place one cheek or the other onto your support. Just finding a comfortable position here where we can start to open the groin and just give it a place to relax. Start to release our belly. And again, we'll be here for about 3 minutes. This is another great place to bring some breath into the lower back. The more you start to move the chin towards the chest, the more relaxed our body can feel. Sometimes allowing it to feel more safe, sometimes allowing us to go deeper into a pose. Just allow yourself to sink into the pose. If you ever reach a place where you feel like there's resistance, you feel like there may be a tensing of muscles, feel free to come out of the pose or just come up a couple inches. If we feel like we're forcing ourselves into a pose, it can actually make us feel a little more stressed, which we definitely don't need more of during our winter season. We want to be as relaxed as possible. So even if that doesn't feel like a full expression of the pose to you or where your flexibility is most, It's really important to honor yourself during this time, especially if you feel different. How can we continue to take deep breaths and just honor wherever our body is today? Take about 30 more seconds here. If you do find yourself really releasing forward and not needing so much support, you can take some support away, whether it be a couple blankets or pillows. Allow yourself to sink deeply into this if you'd like. Take 5 more deep breaths here. Again, you're welcome to stay in this pose for longer if you'd like to press pause and stay here. Otherwise, you can start to walk yourself up, supporting yourself on whatever your support is. To come out of this pose, you can move your support over to the side. Take your hand on either side of your thighs and slowly start to bend your knees to start. Then use the pressure from your hands to draw your knees in. If we do this, then we're not using our groin muscles that we've just stretched and released to draw our knees inwards. Instead, we're using the power of our forearms to draw our knees in. You can take a moment here to integrate. See how that felt. See if anything has changed in the body or mind. For our next pose, we'll be taking a supported twist. So you can take your support, place it on one side of you. And then we'll draw our knees both to one side. So I'm sitting towards one of my hips and my hip is right towards my support. And then we'll take hands to either side of the support, start to move our belly and chest towards our support, and then start to lay down onto our support. If I want a little bit deeper of a twist, I'll start to look away from my knees. If I want a little less of a twist, I'll keep looking towards my knees. I should start to feel that support on my belly. Feel like I can totally relax my chest onto the support. For some of us, this compression can feel really good if we're having some cramping. For some of us, it may feel like too much. So if you do feel like it's too much, you can simply just come to the side and either take the hand to the head like so, or lay down onto the forearm, taking the hand in front of you. And that way we're still getting a little bit of a side body opening, but with less of a deep twist. So you can decide what feels better for you, and sometimes it takes a couple breaths. So I'd encourage you to take a couple of deep breaths wherever you are. Sometimes it takes a little bit, especially if a pose is new to us, for our bodies to really sink in. And sometimes we don't recognize the full benefits of these poses until a couple minutes in, which is why restorative is really nice if you have some time to just take time in each of these shapes. For today, for the benefit of our video, we'll stay on each side for just about a minute. As you slowly sink deeper into this pose, you may feel like you'd like to twist a little bit deeper, maybe changing the direction of your head. And then to come out of this pose, we can look down towards our support. Take hands to either side of our support, push ourselves up onto our hands, and then slowly walk back up so that we're sitting back on that hip. I'm just going to check our video and make sure that we're still working. Okay. So to switch sides, we can just move our knees over to the other side. So we can make sure that the bolster is towards our back, then drop our knees over. Bring our hands to either side of the bolster again, and relax down. Starting to take those deep breaths. I'm going to move to face you just so that you can hear me better. Staying on your twist on the second side. Again, starting with just a couple deep breaths. This side may feel pretty different than the other side. So you may like to take that modified version of just laying on your side, either supporting yourself on your head or on your forearm. Or you may like to go really deep into the twist on this side. Keep taking deep breaths through the belly. You may need to move props around as you sink a little bit deeper into the shape, making sure that you can really relax your chest onto your support here. Really let go, let the shoulders roll forward, just sink into them like you were in bed. Allowing our body to feel safe, supported, and rested. And just as we did on the other side, you can look down towards your support. Take hands to either side, press yourself back up using the support of your hands. And coming back to a seated position, taking your moment of integration, seeing how the twist felt for you. Maybe it felt really, really nourishing. Maybe it didn't feel the best for your body. What can be really good about trying these different poses is that sometimes during our winter, we really only need one pose. Just one that feels really nourishing so that we know we can care for our bodies in that way. One pose that we can stay in for as long as we have, just to find a restful shape. So we'll take one last pose here. I call this the mother of all women's poses. It is a laying down butterfly pose. So we can keep our support where it is, and we'll turn so that our back is right against the support, right against my lower back. And then I'll take the bottoms of my feet together, knees apart. The most important part here is that we want to find some support for underneath our knees. So if you have blocks, blocks can be an option and you can take those to support the knees. My personal favorite is to take a blanket, starting in this shape and rolling it up long ways. So I'm making a long roll with my blanket. I take this over my feet and then I tuck it underneath my ankles. So it's creating the support underneath my ankles. I feel very supported. My knees aren't feeling like they may be strained. And then we'll go ahead and lay all the way back onto our support. If you feel like your chin is really tucked up towards the ceiling, you can take another support underneath your head, another blanket or a pillow. The arms can come out to the side. And we breathe through the belly. This is a really great shape to take that cover for your eyes. So you can use an eye pillow or a washcloth and put that right over your eyes. This blocks out some of the light, which can also be really nice for our endocrine system and calming ourselves down. Additionally, if you have an extra blanket, it can feel really nice here and in any of the poses to cover yourself completely. Our qualities for restorative yoga are stillness, quiet, dark, and warm. This will keep our systems safe and keep us calm and feeling comforted. This pose can feel really nice for cramping. It allows a lot of space in our pelvis. Just allowing yourself to stay here, really breathe through the belly. If you do get any lower back pain in this pose, you can take your thumb and fingers to the hip creases and press down. It should extend the lower back. And then you can take the fingertips on the top of the flesh of the butt and move that towards your heels so that you're extending the lower back even more. It should create a little more space in your lower back. If you do still have any pain, you can just come a little bit lower on your support. So maybe instead of using a pillow, you use just a blanket that brings yourself a little bit lower towards the ground and you don't have such a big curve in the lower back. The arms can be out to the side here, or if you enjoyed the feeling of Yoni Mudra, you can take that shape as well. This is a really safe shape where again you can stay as long as you want. I'll be finishing practice here today. So if you're really loving your reclined butterfly pose, you can feel free to stay here for as long as you'd like. A really beneficial time for restorative pose can be 20 minutes. And proven as a time that we shut off our really active nervous system and start to go into that rest and digest. So if you do have that much time, it can be really nice to set a timer and just allow yourself to soak into this pose. If you don't have that much time today, when you do feel like coming out, I'll show you from my shape here. The first thing I'll do is bring my hands so that they're supportive underneath me. I'll start to tuck my chin and slowly start to use my hands. I want to use my hands to press instead of my abdominals in this pose since we were just stretching and opening up that area. So I'll use my arms to press myself up. I can remove the blocks or the blanket. I'll come back to sitting. I'll take my moment of integration. Thank you all so much for being here and experiencing our winter practice. I hope that one or many of these poses works well for you, and I hope that you have a restful rest of your day.